they left. Maybe they didn't say why. Or maybe they replaced you so quickly that it felt like you never even mattered. Or maybe the worst of all, maybe they stayed, but stopped trying long ago. And now you're left holding everything: the pain, the silence, the memories, the what-ifs. It's like you're frozen in time, replaying a movie they've already walked out of. And I know, it hurts. It hurts in places you didn't even know existed. You gave them everything: your laughter, your time, your soul. And what did they give you in return? Confusion, distance, indifference. If you've ever sat there staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never came, if you've ever looked in the mirror and wondered, was I really not enough? Then I made this for you. This video isn't going to give you cliches. It's going to give you power, because we're about to talk about what you must never do if you want to heal like a high-value person. And this isn't about ego. It's not about games. It's about self-respect. It's about learning to stop chasing people and start returning to yourself. And we're going to do that through the wisdom of the Stoics. People who knew real loss, real heartbreak, and still chose peace over panic. So stay with me. This is the moment your healing begins. Let's talk about what it actually means to be high value. Because social media will lie to you. It'll tell you high value means pretending you don't care, getting revenge, showing off your glow up. But that's not what we're doing here. A high value person isn't cold. They're calm. They feel everything, but they don't let those feelings control their actions. They don't chase people. They don't explain their worth. They don't beg to be seen. They walk away when they're not respected, not because they're unbothered, but because they've learned that their peace matters more than someone else's validation. A high-value person isn't someone who never breaks. It's someone who knows how to rebuild. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That quote changed everything for me, because when someone breaks your heart, it feels like you've lost control of everything: your mind, your body, your days. But the Stoics teach us that the one thing no one can take from you is your power to choose your response. And that's what this video is about. Not changing them, not waiting for them to come back, but reclaiming your power, one decision at a time. So, let's talk about the 5 things high-value people never do after a breakup. Not because they're trying to win, but because they've finally remembered they're not something to be won. They're someone to be respected. Number 1. High-value people never chase closure. They left you in pieces and didn't even look back. Maybe they gave you half-truths. Maybe they said, "It's not you, it's me." Or worse, they said nothing at all. Just silence. Just distance. And now your mind keeps spinning, trying to figure out what went wrong. You want answers. You want to know why. Why they changed. Why they stopped loving you. Why it ended the way it did. And I get it. You think if you could just hear the truth, you could finally breathe again. But here's what the Stoics would tell you. Don't waste your energy trying to understand someone who was committed to misunderstanding you. You see, closure doesn't come from them. It never has. Because the person who hurt you is not the person who can heal you. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And chasing closure? That's one of the biggest ways we waste our life force. We send the text, we replay the memories, we ask mutual friends for updates, all in the hope that one sentence from them will bring peace. But peace isn't something you wait for. It's something you choose. And choosing peace sometimes means accepting that the chapter ended without the punctuation you wanted. It means realizing that their silence, that was your closure. It means waking up one morning and finally telling yourself, I don't need their explanation to be free. I just need to stop holding space for someone who's already gone. I know that hurts. I know that voice inside you still says, but if I could just understand. But listen, understanding won't change what they did. Understanding won't undo the pain. And sometimes, chasing closure is just a clever disguise for still chasing them. High-value people don't beg for peace from those who caused the war. They create peace by choosing themselves, even when it's lonely, even when it hurts. So if you're still waiting for a message, still hoping for a conversation that makes it all make sense, I want you to let that go. Not because they deserve to be let off the hook, but because you deserve to be free. Number 2, high-value people never beg for love. You loved them, that's the truth. Maybe more than you loved yourself. You gave and gave and gave, until there was almost nothing left of you, and still they pulled away. Still they left. And now there's this voice inside whispering, maybe if I just reach out, maybe if I just remind them how much I care, they'll come back. But listen closely, because I need you to hear this. Love that has to be begged for is not love. It's survival. It's fear. It's a desperate attempt to hold on to someone who already let go. And high-value people, people who've learned through pain and fire, they don't beg to be loved. Because they know that begging doesn't bring someone closer. It only pushes them further away. You see, begging is a trade, your dignity in exchange for their scraps of attention. And no matter how much you care, that's not a trade a high-value soul is willing to make. Epictetus once said, "Never depend on the admiration of others. There is no strength in it. Personal merit cannot be derived from an external source. That means your worth is not found in whether they stay or go. Your value isn't up for negotiation. And love that demands you kneel before it was never worthy of you to begin with. I know the silence hurts. I know how badly you want them to turn around, look you in the eyes and say, I made a mistake. I miss you. I see your worth now. But even if they did say it, would you believe it? Or would you wonder if they're just afraid of losing their control? Begging doesn't create love. It creates imbalance. It tells them that they can break your heart and still have access to it. But a high-value person knows when to stop offering what's no longer being received, not because they're cold, but because they respect their soul too much to place it at someone's feet who won't hold it gently. And let's be honest, if they truly saw your worth, you wouldn't be standing here debating whether to send that text. You wouldn't be crying over red receipts and silence, because someone who loves you, really loves you, won't make you beg to stay. So today, I want you to say this out loud and drop it in the comments too. I will never beg to be chosen. I already am enough. Because you are. Even when they don't see it. Even when you forget it. Especially then. Love should never have to be earned through suffering. Love is not a test you need to pass. And if you have to plead for someone's heart, you'll never feel safe in it. So, stop waiting. Stop explaining. Stop proving. You don't need to fight for a place in someone's life who wouldn't fight for a place in yours. Number 3, high-value people never spy or stalk. I know the temptation. You unlock your phone, your finger hovers over their profile, and there it is, the need to check. Did they post anything? Are they seeing someone new? Do they miss me? You tell yourself it's harmless, that it's just curiosity. But what you don't realize is, every time you peek into their life, you rip your own wound back open. High-value people don't do that, not because they don't feel the same pain, but because they know that healing never comes from looking backwards. Let's be honest, what are you really hoping to find? That they're miserable without you, that they secretly still care, that they've written some cryptic quote that might be about you? Even if they did, what then? Will that bring you peace or pull you right back into the chaos? The truth is, every time you spy, every time you check their stories or scan their likes, you're giving your power away. You're saying, I still need them to validate my worth. But high-value people, they refuse to make their healing dependent on someone else's behavior. The Stoics would tell you this: focus only on what you can control. Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, stop obsessing over their life. Return to your own. Because while you're watching them, waiting for signs, hoping they miss you, you're missing your own growth. You're missing the version of you that's trying to rise from this pain. You're feeding their ego with your attention while starving your soul of peace. You are not a background viewer in their life. You are the main character in your own. It's not strength to monitor someone who left you. It's not closure to decode every move they make. That's not clarity. That's self-inflicted suffering. A high-value person understands just because something is visible doesn't mean it's meant for you to see. You're not weak for wanting to know. You're human. But strength begins the moment you choose not to look. Not because you don't care anymore, but because you care too much about your future to stay trapped in their past. So today I want you to say this and drop it in the comments with pride. I protect my peace by not looking back. Because your peace matters more than their updates. Your silence holds more power than your curiosity ever will. And remember, if spying on them costs you your dignity, your rest, your growth, it's too expensive. Number 4. High-value people never try to prove their worth. Let me guess, you've thought it too. One day they'll see what they lost. One day they'll regret walking away. And maybe you've already started that silent mission, the transformation, the glow-up, the I'll show them what they missed campaign. But can I ask you something, heart to heart? Why should you have to prove your worth to someone who didn't value it in the first place? Trying to prove yourself after they've left is like watering a dead plant. No matter how much effort you put in, it won't bloom, not because you're not enough, but because they chose not to see your value when it mattered. High-value people know this. You don't heal by performing. You heal by returning to yourself. The desire to prove is just a disguise for unprocessed hurt. You're not really trying to impress them. You're trying to make sense of the rejection. You're trying to erase the feeling of not being enough by getting their attention again. But here's the catch. Even if they notice, even if they come back, you'll still feel empty, because your worth isn't meant to be reflected through their eyes. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies not in what others perceive, but in what we know to be true about ourselves. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free. Free from needing validation, free from proving, free from performing for people who never deserved the show. When you try to prove your worth, you make them the audience and you the actor. But when you live your truth silently and proudly, you make yourself the center. And that's where your power belongs. So instead of showing them what they lost, become who you were always meant to be, whether they see it or not. Not to teach them a lesson, not to win them back, but because you finally realize You never needed them to define your worth in the first place. I want you to write this in the comments as your declaration of power. I do not perform for people who discarded me. I return to myself. That's what high value looks like. Not loud, not dramatic, not desperate to be seen, just steady, certain, unbothered, rising. Because the most powerful kind of glow-up is the one that doesn't need to be witnessed, only lived. Number 5. High-value people never break no contact. They expect you to crack. They expect your silence to be temporary. They're convinced that one late night or one moment of weakness will be enough to make you break no contact and reach out. That's the game their ego is playing, and they think they're winning. But a high-value person, they understand that no contact isn't just a tactic, it's a declaration. It's the moment you stop negotiating with your own dignity. Because silence isn't absence, it's presence. It's the full force of your boundaries finally standing tall without needing explanation or permission. At first, the silence is loud, it aches, it echoes. Every part of you wants to scream, to ask why, to just hear them say something, anything, but then something shifts. You begin to hear a different sound, your own voice coming back to life, and that's where healing starts. Breaking no contact isn't just about a text or a call. It's about breaking trust with yourself. Every time you reach out, you tell yourself that your peace can be postponed, that maybe their comfort matters more than your closure. But high-value people don't do that. They don't hand over their power just to get temporary relief. They sit in the storm until it passes, because they know the sun comes after silence. Stoic wisdom teaches us that discipline is freedom, and what is no contact, if not the highest form of emotional discipline? Epictetus said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. In other words, they only get to break you if you allow it." No contact is how you reclaim that control. It's the boundary that says, "I'm done performing for your comfort. I'm done explaining my worth. I'm done being accessible to someone who couldn't choose me the first time." You're not punishing them. You're protecting you. That silence they're confused by. That's the sound of your growth. The very thing they never expected, your self-restraint, your peace, your refusal to engage, that's what stings their ego more than any words you could ever say. Because silence forces them to hear their own conscience. And if they were in the wrong, trust me, it's screaming louder than your voice ever could. Say this with me, and drop it in the comments like a flag you're planting in the ground of your own healing. I protect my peace. My silence is my power. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about who texts first. This is about remembering that the highest form of self-worth is not reacting. It's choosing not to invite chaos back into your life just because you miss the person who brought it. And one day, when you're fully healed, you'll look back and realize the silence wasn't empty. It was sacred. It was the space where you finally came home to yourself. And you'll be so damn proud you never broke it. They may have broken your heart, but they didn't break your soul. That part of you, the part that loved honestly, gave selflessly, stayed loyal even when it hurt, that part is still intact. Maybe bruised, maybe quieter, but still whole. And now, it's waking up, right now, in this silence, in this distance, in this painful clarity. You are becoming someone new. Or rather, you're becoming who you were always meant to be, not the version of you that begged to be chosen, not the version that tolerated confusion, inconsistency, and emotional crumbs, but the version that remembers, I am the prize. I am not disposable. I am not someone you replace. This breakup didn't destroy you, it revealed you. Every tear, every lonely night, every unanswered question. It's been shaping a strength in you that silence can't shake. And you might not see it fully yet, but trust this, the pain was not pointless. You were never abandoned by life. You were redirected by it, pulled back from a version of love that wasn't love at all. The Stoics would remind you, you were never promised comfort, only the opportunity to respond with courage. And that's exactly what you've done. You didn't beg, you didn't chase, you didn't perform. You chose stillness, you chose discipline. And in doing so, you chose yourself. This is what rising looks like. Quiet, fierce, unapologetic. So now I ask you, which of these 5 things are you finally letting go of today? Is it the urge to chase closure, the need to beg for love, the late-night stalking, the desire to prove your worth, or that ache to break no contact just to feel something again? Let it go. Because none of those things define your value. They only distract you from it. This breakup didn't ruin you. It woke you up. It reminded you of your power, your worth, your right to be loved without having to suffer for it. And as painful as it's been, you're not walking out of this the same. You're walking out stronger, clearer, calmer, and most importantly, in control of your story again. High value isn't about being better than them. It's about being better than who you were when you tolerated less than you deserved. And every day you choose peace over performance, silence over chasing, dignity over desperation. You become more of that version of you. So drop this affirmation in the comments right now. I am done proving myself. I choose peace over pain. Let the world and yourself know that your healing has already begun. And if this video spoke to something deep inside you, hit that like button. Not for me, for you. Subscribe if you're ready to rebuild not just your heart, but your identity. Because this channel isn't just about moving on, it's about rising. And I promise, the best of you is still ahead. You're not who they left behind. You're who they'll never get to meet again. The healed, high-value version of you that finally knows their worth.